Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We want to mention that this event is brought to you by Timing Research and TradeOutLoud. This event is being recorded, and all the recordings will be available as soon as they are processed on the TimingResearch.com website and also on the YouTube channel. David Kosmeter and I, Anka McCaffrey, will be your host today. And before we begin, let me remind you that all information provided today is for educational purpose only and should not be construed as investment advice regarding the purchase or sale of securities, options, futures, forex, or any instrument of any kind. Trading involves a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors because you could lose money. So before deciding to trade, you should carefully consider your objectives, your level of experience, and your risk appetite. Individual performance depends upon each person's skills, time commitment, and effort. Results may not be typical, and individual results will vary. You must do your own research and make your own trading decisions. With us today, we have a fantastic lineup of traders that are really happy to share some psychological aspects of trading, some discipline aspects, and also tips and tricks for you. And with us today, we're going to kick it off with Mercedes. And Mercedes, you have the mic. Freedom from the Matrix. Oh my gosh, this sounds amazing.
Thank you, Anka. Okay, thank you first of all to you and David for having me here. Always love being here. So, okay, shall we begin? Freedom from the Matrix. I think nothing could be more topical than that at the moment. And also, of course, it is the fundamental basis of absolutely everything. So, hang on, where's my mouse? There. So risk disclosure, we don't have to do that again here. A little bit about me. I started out at Commerzbank. For those of you who don't know me, I studied, my background is very different from everybody else's background. So be warned, studied wisdom traditions, ufology, cosmology is a big interest of mine, and the impact of our environment on our brain and general well-being. Again, of course, I mean, these are very, very big subjects at the moment. I've trained energetic NLP, I'm a theta healer, and an advanced EFT, emotional freedom technique practitioner. And I've got various, other things I have done. I'm a Yuzui Reiki master, done access consciousness, and many other things. So I started trading in 2001, coach traders, and before that, I worked with entrepreneurs and military personnel in Germany mainly, which was very interesting. And since, for about 15 years, I've basically focused on working with traders. Now, I invite you to join my newsletter for special offers. I will be doing a very interesting webinar next week. We'll talk about this a bit more in a moment. It's to do with what people call the reset, in more specifically about the quantum financial system. We'll talk about this in a moment, just a little bit more. So I'll be going ever so slightly off script here. So first of all, let's just talk more in general terms here. And the first thing is, in trading, as really anything else in life, it's always about you. And I know many people don't like to hear this, so please don't leave nasty messages here. I mean, I've had on YouTube, I've deleted it all, some really rude comments about a video I did about the issue of self-responsibility, which shows me just how important it is to remind everybody about this. What you see in your life, what you see in the world around you, ultimately, it comes back to us. We are the ones who are individually responsible for everything in life, and we are also collectively responsible. So the two go together. And I know that can be a little bit hard to understand. Now, before you think, it's hard to believe, but I want to tell you, things will be very, very different from where we are right now in the next 12 months to 18 months. There are a massive radical changes which will affect the financial system, and they will certainly affect our lives. So the big picture at the moment is terrible. Wherever we look, there is a lot of panic. Don't be pulled into this, because if you are, well, you won't be able to trade, you won't be able to make any sound financial decisions. The old brain goes into incoherence. Just to tell you, those of you who've never heard me before, let me remind you, one single negative thought interrupts the brain, the blood-brain barrier. You will be for a few seconds without any oxygen and blood supply to the brain. Just one negative thought. So if that isn't enough to convince you to seek out the techniques, to get into harmony, to feel good, look for possibilities, stay in your vision, well, I don't know what is then. So anyway, what really is happening underneath all the fluff, we got to be absolutely clear about this. The world at large is making the shift into the heart. And that incidentally goes for the Earth as well. Our planet is a living, highly, highly intelligent being. We as human beings, we are indexed to the Earth. We are directly connected to the Earth, and we receive our intelligence and everything in our life from the Earth, from the core of the Earth. It's also referred to as a Mother Earth. So many people don't realize that that is so, and we have not been very kind to our planet. That has got to be said. Now, the heart is magnetic, and the heart draws to it. It's 5,000 times stronger than the brain alone. And it has got the ability through its own little brain, it has got its own brain, to transcend duality. And it can see absolutely anything. It will not just see Mercedes sitting here talking to a group of traders, mainly in the States. It can see everything. So when you learn to connect with your heart energy, your entire being changes, your modus operandi completely transforms. Now, I invite you to imagine 7 billion hearts across the world waking up and seeing through the lens of love, because this is what we are talking about here. So once that is happening and is becoming visible to more people, the shift into the next energy level is going to be palpable, and it'll happen very, 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 very quickly once we are ready. We have not quite reached that tipping point, but it is very, very close. Somebody said it's about, we are about 3% away from it, which is not a lot. So, and this was a couple of weeks ago, so we may be closer by now, because people are moving up and literally upwards on the frequency ladder very, very quickly now, those who can. Not everybody, of course, will make it. This is an evolutionary impulse, which is huge. I mean, everybody will know that by now. And it will, this has got to be said, it will leave anybody behind who cannot make the shift. So therefore, it might be a good idea to ride the wave, wouldn't you say? And it really is in trading. Elliott wave, anybody? I'm an Elliottian. It really is in trading as it is in life. And life, of course, is a succession of waves. So here, I mean, I love this image. I had to show you that if you learn how to ride the waves, yes, you will thrive and you will get to enjoy the ride. So, I mean, I can tell you this, I can't make you believe it, of course. So, okay, how do you ride a wave? That's, the quintessential question here. Well, you ride it, first of all, by having a knowledge of natural forces. I think that goes without saying, doesn't it? Then the next thing is you have to have an in-depth knowledge of yourself. And as I said, as in trading, So it is in life. You also have to have a curiosity to learn. And when I say learn, that means not only the good things, everything is rosy on the horizon. Well, maybe not, particularly when you're learning new things. You have to go through phases. The way the brain is set up, it's set up to resist. And it is not our natural way of being, but this has been programmed into us. So it feels natural, even though it isn't. But since it's been programmed into us, of course, we can unprogram it. So learning is it's all encompassing, it's all inclusive, and that includes the unpalatable facts so many want to avoid. And I think, we all have been given to this idea of wishful thinking. I certainly include myself here, and I'd say anybody who is honest, nobody would have thought that we would be in this very lengthy transition we are experiencing at the moment, which is a very, very harsh, but ultimately incredibly powerful learning curve if we are willing to go with it. Can't say that often enough. So it is, at the end of the day, there's no two ways about it, more than ever before, about discipline to keep going and practicing staying in your vision. I tweet this every day to my followers: stay in your vision, don't give up. And again, as in trading, so it is in life. And don't ever give up learning. You can learn from the enemy. In fact, you want to go and look at what the enemy is doing. The enemy could be that trading system, which you think it's a load of crap, and you really hate the guy who invented it, and you don't like the way he is promoting or she is promoting it. Doesn't matter. Look at it, have an open mind, because by seeing what is not right for you, that leads you to becoming clearer in your vision of what is right for you, what system may work for you. And I can tell you one thing, particularly those of you who are new to trading, you will not know what is right for you. You may have an idea, you may have learned a lot of false stuff about what trading is all about and what investing is all about, and it's easy to fall into the trap. So look at everything, but do so with a very, very open mind, and set the intention to put on your critical thinking hat. And it is okay even to say to the to the experts, so-called experts, okay, this is not for me. It doesn't gel with me. Maybe I don't know why it doesn't gel for me, but it's not okay for me. So in other words, no blind following of anything. So, and if you do that, I can assure you, it'll stand you in very, very good stead in your life. So, well, basically what happens when we are faced with adversity, I mean, that could be you have several losing trades in a row, or you just made a costly mistake, and you look at your screen and think, good God, how could I have made such a stupid mistake? And we tend to be critical of ourselves and blame ourselves. Well, you need to get out of this, because what happens, you unconsciously, when you are faced with any form of adversity, you will either do more of the same or you will do less of the same. This is just automatic behavior, which ultimately, of course, leads to impulse behaviors, over trading, moving stops. Well, we don't have to really talk about this. You all know what it's like when you lose control over your emotions and you get into anger and fear, because the brain, fear, of course, is a negative emotion, as is anger. Remember what I said early on. Just one negative thought stops the brain, the blood supply and oxygen supply to the brain. So basically, you are just not thinking coherently anymore. And obviously, we'll have to avoid getting into that state with any means possible. And I have a tool for you. If you sign up to my website, I will send you the webinar for it. It's called Non-Invasive Neurostimulation. A lot of traders I have worked with are using it. I use it, my partner uses it, and it really helps getting the brain into coherence, remaining calm, and even if you lose your composure for a moment, it comes back very, very quickly. So it's a wonderful tool. So, okay, of course, what we are saying here, any robust strategy, whatever it is, you will find when you hit your glass ceiling, what you are observing is not just something you are bringing to the trading table. You will be doing this in other areas of your life. So therefore, it stands you in good stead to be vigilant and really observe what you are doing, what you are thinking at any moment of your life, and you'll be amazed what comes up and what insights you get. Mindfulness is a wonderful tool. Meditation, by the way, is the tool that gets you here. So, and now I'm going to share something with you I am very, very hugely excited about. And this is the QFS. As of Tuesday, certainly, there is no SWIFT system anymore. So what that means is we are now, the world has got one currency operating. So this is just the beginning. You know, it is part of a long phase. And I just have to say to you, I've done a lot of research into this. I have lectured on this in my group from chaos to coherence in detail, and some of these things are available in one of my courses, Freedom from the Matrix. Okay, so now what's happening is absolutely huge, and I want to say to you, don't believe all the biased claptrap which is out there about what they call the financial reset, which is brought to you by your propaganda machine called the MSM. They are not telling you what really is going on. And you will notice that QFS is hardly ever mentioned. It is not mentioned. Hence, people, even traders and brokers, and I speak to them on a regular basis, they have no idea what it is. I was party to a webinar presentation by Russian banks a few weeks ago, and unfortunately a lot of it was in Russian and I couldn't understand it. I could only understand the English part of it, but it was very interesting, you know, and they were saying, you know, all the banks, the central banks will all be allowed to introduce their own currencies. So things are going to get very interesting. Now, the QFS, let's be absolutely clear about this. This is not a cryptocurrency per se. The actual software is not your traditional computer software. It is based, I've written it down here, it's based on fractal geometry. It's based on Mandelbrot, you know, it's very, very interesting. It's based on Pythagoras, Mendeleev, and John Newlands. You know, these are all very, very, don't know if any of you studied these guys. I mean, it is fascinating when you understand what is going on here. The system is well and truly infinite. It's intelligent. It can do amazing things hardly anybody talks about. But we will sign up to the my newsletter. I'll do a webinar about this next week. So I mean, as you can tell, I'm really, really excited about this because I think it is fantastic news. So, and we don't know exactly when it is fully operational, but the first and important step has been taken. So, okay, I just needed to get that out of the way because it will have an impact on everybody's daily life, and it will certainly, make no mistake, have a big impact on trading going forward. So how exactly this is going to unfold, I am at this moment not quite sure. I put some some questions out, you know, to which I'm hoping to get the answers in the next few days, because, you know, I obviously, you know, I don't want to tell you something, you know, I don't know about. Everything I talk about is research to the best of my ability. So you need to know that. So, okay, right. Why is the trading psychology today different than it has been in the so-called past? I mean, the past well and truly stopped at some point last year. And that means the new energy is here. It's not coming in, it's here. The new energy frequencies are here. We have got a big energy wave at the moment that's sweeping the planet and is helping us, helping people to make the move to the higher energy frequencies, which everybody has to make, or you basically will not be able to have a very comfortable life here on planet Earth anymore. So, okay, I've said it before, this is the biggest evolutionary impulse we have seen for 5,000 years, and it is spiritual and physical, which is something people have got great difficulty wrapping their heads around. And my latest program, Freedom from the Matrix, addresses all this in great detail. So now, yes, as I've said, the Earth has changed frequency, our galaxy has changed frequency. The only thing that's lagging behind, and you only need to look around you, you know, tune into your own brain and see how fear and doubt still keep coming back as we move forward into sort of more information, higher levels of information, ultimately more light. So the brain is having problems because the brain cannot make this shift. You see, it is unable to make this shift, and we have been predominantly using our brain, whereas really, I said it before, we are moving into an area where we must predominantly use the heart energy and the little brain that is present in the heart to be able to fully function and take advantage of the fantastic, amazing opportunities which are there for us if we allow it. Now, the financial system as you have known it, it's over. It's over. I can't go into all the history here, why that is so. Again, that is explained in that program, Freedom from the Matrix, because it is fascinating when you really understand what's been going on and how, you know, the better part of the QFS, which are coming on stream, will be coming on stream, you know, it's absolute magic. It will transform people's lives, you know, I mean, that, yeah, I just know. So because of all this, the way we are dealing with trading psychology today, it's got to be completely different, because the old ways of doing things have stopped working. Our bodies and our brains are changing. Yes, okay, the change is a little bit slow, but don't let that dissuade you. It's happening, and we can help ourselves by doing the right things, so that we are co-creating on a more harmonious level with source, rather than fighting source by wanting to look back in the past and hoping, oh, things are going to go back to normal. They won't. I guarantee you one thing, it ain't going to go back to where it was. And heck, who wants it? Working your socks off, paying taxes and hoping to die? I don't think so. It's not for me. So anyway, what do we have to focus on? First and foremost, education in universal laws of manifestation and cosmic history, the one that's not told openly, and the one you get thrown off Twitter for and stuff like that. That is an absolute must. Why? Because when you really, really get it, you will be coming out of this immersion of all the falsehoods you have been taught about who you are, how your brain works, how your body works, and ultimately how the universe works. And only that is the very first step, because we need to find a way of convincing our brain that we are not humans that are lacking in this and lacking in that, and they need controlling, and you need to control the body, you need to control the mind. No, you don't. But what you do need to do is educate yourself to understand how your DNA works in connection with your belief system, and how you can change it. And you can absolutely change it if you, here it goes again, that word believe, if you believe it. So it starts, of course, with teaching skills to decode and uninstall all these faulty programs. And that's partly education, as we said, that's the first step. Then we can get into the deeper modality of shifting out of dysfunctional behaviors, which we all have at some level. Let's be honest about it here. If somebody says they don't have it, put it in the box and say, not me, says the pig. Okay, so anyway, we are moving into the ability where every single one of us can learn to do their own healing work. I mean, how fantastic is that? This is what this transformation, I said, our bodies are transforming, our minds are transforming, and we can help ourselves so that we can do our own healing. It's a very beautiful thing. And then, of course, it's all about teaching simple strategies. Meditation is one, to integrate the spiritual and material creative process of manifestation. Manifestation in its essence is creative, it's intuitive, it's visionary. And these are all the things your mind cannot do for you. So, okay, to be really clear about what I teach. So you won't get any trading strategies from me. You can ask me, I'll tell you, of course, but that's not the focus. There are plenty people who teach you how to trade with fantastic trading strategies. And I mean, Anka is certainly one of them. She's a fantastic trader. I mean, I know that. So, okay, it's about learning to get out of the third dimension. You don't need to be shown how to do things. Most of you know how to do things. You may need to be shown a system which you can then make your own. But ultimately, if somebody sits there and says, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 this is outdated third dimensional stuff. We are moving away from this. And it will stifle your creative and intuitive mind. And above all, that's perhaps the most important thing. It'll separate you from your power, from your source. What is source? Source basically is your power supply in the most simplistic terms. So what you get from me is you get my energy. I lend you through my teachings, my energy to help you become more of you, to discover for you your true nature. And we'll help you along with guiding you into teachings and things, stuff you haven't known, and there are many things, it's not your fault, you cannot know, not everybody is like me, who spends hours upon hours doing research, and I've always done that. It is, if you like, the more geeky side of me, I enjoy it. So and I find it fascinating. So, but that's basically, what it's about. You are exposing yourself to new ideas of being in this world. You're learning new stuff about yourself. Now, to me, that is very, very exciting. And ultimately, there is no formula. This is the quantum versus the Newtonian ways of doing things, the mechanical ways of doing things. They have been overridden. It's dead. We are now in that area where everything is in constant flux, and ultimately it means there is a lot more freedom in this. You may not see this if you focus on external circumstances, but please trust me on this one. It is there, but it cannot be found by constantly focusing on the latest news. That can only be found, that inner freedom can only be activated inside. So what is required for this? Only a few things, actually. This is not complicated. It may sound complicated, but it really, really isn't. If you open your mind and your heart, it requires confidence, self-confidence, definitely steadfastness, a belief in you, and commitment. You've got to go through, the different stages to come out on the other side. I can assure you, your inner genius awaits, because everybody has got it. It has been switched off, but I can assure you it's still there. The only question is, will you allow the journey? Nobody can do that for you. I can't do it for you. I can sit here and talk with angels' tongues. It makes no difference. You have to be ready and willing and be as excited about this as I am really about it, and as I am teaching this stuff. So, okay, let's start with a question for everyone. Now, you don't have to put this in the box. I just want you to think about this for yourself. And you may have difficulty in answering this, and let that be okay if it is difficult. Just notice whether it comes easily to you, whether you feel a little bit of doubt, whether you think, oh, well, that's a load of poppycock here, and, whatever. Just observe, because with your thoughts, you create your life. It's consciousness. It's all there is ultimately. So, okay, the question is this. If you could do and be anything you like, what would you do and what would you be? Now, the doing, obviously, it's obvious. Would you trade very short term? Would you trade longer term if you had the funds, for example? Would you become an investor? Or whatever, would you seek a financing of, sort of a big humanitarian project? All this will become available soon. Then the being is, who am I being energetically? Am I being that individual who loves myself and appreciates myself and understands that actually, yes, I have the right to be whatever I choose? This is not about a free lunch here, because there is no such thing as a free lunch, but it is about transmuting the immersion of the reality as it's being thrown at you with the most sophisticated NLP strategies out there from every angle at the moment. So we got to come out of that immersion, and then the next question would be, what would it take for whatever you choose to do and be to materialize? Now, this is not about thinking logically, thinking reality is this. No, this is about vision. Be practicing your vision, practicing being in your vision and feeling it, and then next, living it, living in your cocoon. So what we are talking about is the journey from the third dimension into the fifth dimension. So let me explain that a little bit, because I know many have got problems in understanding what all this is really all about. In the third dimension, which is where we all are, and in terms of Kubler-Ross, the evolutionary principles, most people are standard, 75% of people are in what is called concrete operational phase. It's described in detail in all the different levels and what it means for your trading in my book, the Buddhist Trader, actually. So the third dimension is where most people are, 2/3. You see things as solid and you believe what you see is real, and it's the only reality. There is nothing else. In the fourth dimension, you start questioning how things are. And that is a very, very difficult phase, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Then, as you move through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, you start seeing beyond appearances. For example, you look at your screen. Now, I can see within a GIF if there is trading set up or not. Boom. just see it and I can feel it. Do I want to take it or not? It's years and years and years of practice and doing the work, that hasn't arrived on my lap. And I've made many mistakes. And I'll tell you something. I mean, I screwed up the other week. I had 3 losing trades in a row. Why? Because my ego was overriding me. So, it happens, at any level. I mean, you never completely shed everything. We are not throwing out the baby with the bathwater here. Somewhere, we are multidimensional beings, and you always you can be in more than one dimension at once, of course, but the dominant dimension we are moving into, and this is what matters, will be the 5th dimension. And that is where you choose, for example, when you do stupid things like, which is entirely my own fault. The first trade was okay. Then the second 2 trades, I was going mechanically when I shouldn't have. And just executing the my system mechanically, and I thought, well, that was a bit stupid. I mean, I was bored. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I was bored. So I mean, it's okay, but when you are in the 5th dimension, you see it for what it is and say, right, okay, you made a mistake, fine, okay, let's walk away. Come back tomorrow morning and it's forgotten. It doesn't linger. You do something else. You just observe, you learn, and you choose something different in that moment. And that's it. Fine. Bingo. There is no drama. And because there is no drama, the universe yields to your frequency. You're not going to blow up your account in most simplistic terms. Okay. So, I mean, imagine if you could see beyond appearances more often than not. Maybe you won't do it all the time. We are not after perfection here. We are after the dominant energy we can be. So, well, imagine how you would be not only a better trader and investor, but you'd enjoy it so much more, because when you do this, it's a totally different bodily feeling. It's just, it feels natural, it's in flow, it's intuitive, and it's enjoyable. So, and after all, life should be an enjoyable experience. So as I've already said, we have got to get through the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension is tricky because good and bad, dark and light vie for your attention. And they are very, very close. They are sitting right in your energy field. They are not something where you, as in the past, you could put on the rose-tinted glasses and everything's going to be fine. And it's worked for a long time, worked for me for a long time as well. But as you go through this, that will not work anymore. So you have to find a way to get through this, and this is a big part of my work, helping people to go through it. Maybe it is the most important part of my work, so that you can get to the other side, that you can get through that dark, dualistic part with greater ease, and of course, faster, quicker. So this is what we are looking at, because you always get to choose. There is nothing in life where you don't have a choice. You do have a choice now. And of course, there is, I love Hieronymus Bosch, so I had to put these up here. So, well, there is hell, and we got, all the little guys, they're little devils and things. I mean, I think it's just wonderful, and hell, hey, it's very, very real. I mean, the dark side is very, very real. And we absolutely need to know about it, acknowledge it, and face it. So, and then there is paradise. Paradise is just as real. It is just as much in your grasp as there is, the other side. It's up to you to choose. So now here is why duality is kept alive. It's actually very simple. It's about your beliefs. Here we are again. Ultimately, beliefs. Where do our beliefs come from? And I really want you to understand this. It's not about you. It is what has been taught to you. It is how our world has been infiltrated systematically from all different aspects. I go into great detail in, freedom from the matrix, into all this. So basically, it resulted in an immersion in lies about who you are, in lies about your history. I'm talking about the history of humanity. There has been recently a fantastic, interesting discovery, well, in the last 20 years, which has been suppressed for a long, long time. It's to do with a massive tomb has been found. I've seen some photographs. It's absolutely amazing in Jordan. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's been suppressed. Now you wonder why. Okay, enough said. Lies about how your brain works. You have not been told the truth about this. Your brain is capable of amazing things if it is trained correctly. Lies about how your body works. Same thing. The body is a thing of beauty, and you are probably not using it correctly. Probably none of us are, but we are learning. We're all learning. This is what it's all about. We are becoming bigger and better versions of ourselves. And by the way, you do not need AI for that. Lies about your God. This one is huge. Lies about the nature of evil. That's another one which is huge. The Luciferian energy needs to be understood. I talked about this in the last webinar. Lies about morals, another big one. Lies about money. Phew, that is so big. No more needs to be said about that one. Lies about the world of finances, how that works. Lies about aliens. Watch out, that's the next frontier. Lies about the future. You have not been told the truth. Not been told the truth. And not to mention all the lies about technology and about trading and about investing. So it's basically not surprising that you have got problems seeing who you are for what you really are, instead of which you are here. This is it. You are immersed in all this nefarious stuff around you. You can't see the wood for the trees. Everything is dark. Everything is sort of wishy-washy. That's basically the fourth dimension. And depression and lack of hope and serious fear are real problems, and they need to be managed, and they can be managed and navigated. Absolutely vital to help you come through it faster and come out on the other side. There is, by the way, no way around dealing with your stuff. If you are afraid of something, it needs to be faced. So of course, when nobody is home, basically the music stops. Source means power. And what has happened, you have been disconnected systematically from your power. And that's why you feel at the mercy of all the circumstances around you when actually you are not. So that's when you make decisions based on fear, based on protecting your lot. And I mean, when I look at all the advertising, how they are trying to sell the stocks and shares to people, it really makes me cross, because it's all about pushing fear and greed and the fear of uncertainty, the fear of loss, and everybody is coming after you. I mean, this is a show that is put on for you to beat you into submission. It is all false and not true. So, and people fall for this, and they go for it because they believe in these false comfort zones. To break loose, to break into a higher level of frequency is not always comfortable. That's why it's so difficult to remain there. And that's why we keep falling back, because we think it's not real and it seems utopian. What if it is not? I can tell you one thing: the esoteric side of things, the utopian vision, is more real than what you see on CNN. So of course, when you are in that place, what happens? the energy in your body stagnates and entropy sets in. All of these things do not need to happen, as they have been happening to a lot of people with many incoherent brains. It sort of really accelerates that side of things. This need not be like this if you know what to do and do it. Again, this is really what my work is about, because you have to have these things in place, and then when you are okay in yourself, then you can go out and conquer the world of trading and investing. And it's so much more fun too. So basically, you know, the world has been set up to weaken you, not to strengthen you. It's got to be accepted. This is what it looks like. You know, they are after you. You know, the taxes, interest, usury, lies, deceit, big one. Cutting off your power from source is the biggest one. It's done with acid poison in the environment. And here rests my case on this one. So it's not a pretty picture, but this is what awakening is all about. That's why it's coming to our rescue. So it's up to you to say yes to it, and say no to the fake glory of separation and compartmentalization. Because, you know, they want you to be in little boxes, become a little expert of something. So, you know, that you know nothing and you end up having no life skills whatsoever. So if you are only concerned about money, yet don't even think about what happiness means, well, do you have any life skills? No. Are you going to be in a position to lead a life from the heart? Heck no. You're going to go about your life thinking everything is worthwhile? Absolutely not. So do you really think you can live and contribute to a better world if you are just focused on one tiny area of life? That is the question. So I think I've made it clear what the answer is. So here is what's coming for sure. The QFS is coming in. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And it's not all the negative bullshit, you know, the misinformation that is out there. Don't fall for all this hogwash. You know, turn all this stuff off. You know, I can't push this often enough. Just don't go there. You know, okay, that may take willpower, particularly if you're concerned and afraid. Concern and fear and worry will not solve your problem. Trust will. Trust and working on getting your connection back to source. This is what will get you sorted. And this quantum technology that is coming in, it's working with source. That is its beauty. I mean, it's very, very amazing. And the system will be able to detect and differentiate between good and bad intentions of people. It's quite incredible. So trading as you know it will completely change. I've alluded to that at the beginning. Over the next 2 years or so. It's very difficult to put a time limit on this, because a lot, of course, has to do with how quickly people awake and how many awake, and then, it's a moving target. This is the quantum. Nothing is written in stone here, but, the big picture, we need to understand how it works and what it is capable of doing. So, okay. Question: are you ready to become whole again? I hope you are. So, and we're going to give you a little bit more info in a moment about my programs. But before we go here, let's make clear what needs to be in place first and foremost. And that is that we have to find a way of stopping negative invasion into our bodies and our minds, and interference, which comes mostly from outside, but then we are internalizing it so that it becomes a part of us, if that makes any sense. So this has got to be dealt with, but it's got to be dealt with in such a way that you do not fight. You do not fight it. Rather, you acknowledge it. You look at it. And because if you fight it, you are spreading negative energy into your body and into your mind and ultimately into the world. That's not the way to do it. So it is about facing the dark side at the very beginning, because that is what starts the process of rehabilitation. The dark side it needs the dark. It doesn't want light, it needs the dark. So we all carry darkness. And I know this is the bit you don't want to hear, but it's got to be said. So that's why we have to look at our shadows and do it in a way that comes from compassion and from the heart energy. So ignorance, really, guys, is no choice here, because we are where we are now because of our ignorance, and chose to turn a blind eye for too long, being a fear that we might be accused of being negative. No, this is not about being negative. This is about moving to the light faster. Okay, what else have we got? So going within really is the strategy. There is stillness, meditations. I have got the Transformational Meditation Academy, where we really practice stillness and contemplation. I have recently made some structural changes to this. It's not yet on my website. I need to update that. But the meditations are all recorded so that you can listen to when you are ready, rather than being in a group energy that is not that necessary anymore. By the way, the structure of time is also changing. You may have noticed this. It's everything is much more fluid and much less structured, as I said before. So then, yeah, of course, it's about the heart connection. And when we put these techniques together, these are very, very powerful transmuters. And it takes time. Anything worthwhile does not happen overnight. There is a lead time. It's a process, and you have to stick with it. And I know that has been very, very difficult for most of you of late. I see it from people on my mailing list, and I've seen it in myself, because we are all interconnected. So of course we pick up what is going on in the world. We have compassion for other people. We have compassion for the suffering and everything, to say, okay, I'm sitting on my island and I am not affected by it. Well, that just doesn't work, and it's not how the universe works. So really, there are no shortcuts through the fourth dimension. You have to walk through it, but you can do it with compassion for yourself. You can do it with the right strategies, and before you know it, you will get glimpses of what it's like on the other side. And these glimpses become stronger and stronger, and they stay longer and longer until they finally take up residence in your entire mind body matrix. Okay, so pulling it all together. So how will all this impact on your trading? Well, intuition, it's an acknowledged fact, is the highest form of intelligence. You all have it. I've explained to you why it's not so clear and not that easily accessible. Purity of mind, that means cleaning up all your stuff, opens up your inner vision. It frees you from the need to blindly repeat what others are doing, and find your way, your own way, the way that is right for you. So, you don't have to take my word for it, but please try it. So your way is unique. And this is why I'm saying, I don't teach you how to do things, but I show you the water, so to speak. So, that you can do what is right for you in a way that benefits you most and uses your unique connection to source, because each of us has got their own unique connection to source, their own unique energy signature. Yes, it is that fantastic. So, and that's what the fifth dimension is all about. It frees you up to choose this in your life. And you will be no longer drawn into the charades and power games, so war games, you know, and all the other games which are being played, because you'll see straight through them. And when you see it, you know, it's just, you know, there is no emotion there. And you look at this, it's like, oh, it's that again. Oh God, oh, how hilarious. Oh no, it's not at all. What they are, you know, it's optics. It's just, you know, mere optics. It's not real, you know. And then you walk away, and it hasn't touched your energetic being. So, I mean, okay, you may not be able to see it just yet, but I do sincerely hope that more and more of you are literally seeing that kind of light, and that light is the inner light. It's not out there, it's inside you, because I assure you, when you do, and you choose that path, it will transform.
Hey, Mercedes, sorry to cut you off, but we're almost out of time here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I've got still 10 minutes left here. So, oh God, my watch must have. So, okay, so go to my, here is, what am I saying? No, we'll have to go over all this here then. And what I would say, go on my website. I have not put a special offer up here. Because I think it is much more relevant that you go on my website, sign up to my newsletter, and you know, check out the products on my website. And above all, you know, if you sign up to my newsletter, well, I do regular webinars where we go through the different products and answer your questions and everything. So, okay, that brings me to the end, and I am sorry, my watch stopped. So, okay.